twilight of ancient Mycenae, the House of Atreus loomed like a shadowy specter over the land. This lineage, once noble and revered, had become synonymous with bloodshed and betrayal, a cursed dynasty marked by tragedy. Drifted through the grand halls of their fortress, tales of past misdeeds echoing against stone walls that held centuries of sorrow. Atreus, king of Mycenae, sat upon his throne, his heart heavy with the weight of his legacy. His brow furrowed in contemplation as he gazed out at the kingdom that lay before him. Within him swirled a tempest and intense rivalry with his own brother Thyestes. Their bond had withered under ambition and jealousy. Thyestes coveted the throne just as fiercely as Atreus clung to it. With layers of loyalty festered betrayal. Thyestes plotted in shadows, weaving deceitful alliances with neighboring nobles who shared his hunger for power. Murmurs filled the court like an insidious fog. Atreus became increasingly aware of treachery brewing beneath his feet. Courtiers exchanged furtive glances and hushed word secrets danced tantalizingly close to being unveiled. Under a cloak of darkness, Atreus' keen instincts guided him to overhear whispers among those he once considered allies. Words struck like daggers. Plots against him were hatched while he remained blissfully unaware. Of dread washed over him as realization dawned. Thyestes would stop at nothing to claim what was not rightfully his. His heart raced as he pondered the weight of their shared blood. The very ties that once bound them now tightened like a noose around his throat. Fueled by fury and betrayal, Atreus resolved to take action not merely to defend his crown, but to deliver brutal reckoning upon his brother. A time for vengeance had arrived. Grand hallways adorned with opulence lay tables set for a feast, a banquet meant not for celebration, but for retribution. Candles flickered gently in dim light, casting playful shadows on finely woven tapestries. Thyestes arrived unaware of the fate awaiting him. He entered confidently, greeted by laughter that masked underlying tensions simmering beneath polished surfaces. In precision, Atreus orchestrated an elaborate meal, the finest cuts prepared with meticulous care, yet laced with sinister intent. Guests took his seat at the table surrounded by remnants from happier days, long faded into memory. He savored every bite unaware they were mingled with horror beyond imagination. Hushed silence, Atreus unveiled his heart's dark secret. He presented before Thyestes what remained of his beloved son's victims, sacrificed on behalf of twisted loyalty and familial hatred now laid bare before their father's eyes. That harrowing instant, all joy turned to ash, an act so grotesque, it echoed throughout history, leaving no soul untouched by its stain. Betrayal hung thick in the air like smoke from extinguished flames, both brothers bound together eternally by crimson threads woven through time itself, their legacy now sealed within nightmares, passed down through generations destined, or to fade away completely. Thus concluded Chapter 1. Seeds of Betrayal, a tale steeped in darkness, where ambition eclipses love, leading inevitably toward doom. A reminder that even greatness carries burdens too heavy to bear amidst haunting echoes whispering warnings, only heard when one. Heirs listen closely enough among rustling leaves, or creaking floors deep within forgotten corners, waiting patiently for another chance to awaken beneath moonlit skies once more. The weight of kingship lay heavily upon Agamemnon's shoulders as he stood on the throne of Mycenae. A place filled with laughter, now echoed with betrayal and bloodshed. Atreus danced along the walls, reminders of his family's dark legacy, a lineage steeped in tragedy. Each creak of the wooden beams whispered tales that haunted him. Agamemnon yearned to distance himself from his father's dreadful choices, but no matter how much he tried to step into the light, darkness lingered at the edges of his consciousness. He was acutely aware that every decision would be scrutinized under the watchful eyes of ghosts past. Clytemnestra entered his life like a tempest. She captured Agamemnon's heart, yet harbored a storm brewed by loss and resentment. Their union began in hope, as they dreamed of ruling justly and restoring peace to their kingdom. However, beneath her serene exterior lay an aching heart scarred by betrayal and ache, rooted in the tragic sacrifice of their daughter Iphigenia, whose life had been offered for Agamemnon's ambition. Whispers spread throughout Mycenae about preparations for war against Troy. Clytemnestra felt herself torn between love for her husband and an overwhelming sense of injustice for their lost child. It simmered within her like molten lava waiting to erupt. With each day leading up to his departure for war, her thoughts clouded. She painted Agamemnon as both hero and villain. Despite this turmoil brewing within their household, Agamemnon remained resolute in his quest for glory. Winds turned against him when he sought favorable gales at Aulis before sailing toward Troy, an act marked by desperation that led him down a path steeped in guilt. It reached him that he must sacrifice Iphigenia to appease Artemis and secure safe passage across treacherous waters. It shattered his spirit further. Caught between duty as king and father, Agamemnon faced silent torment while preparing for battle. Iphigenia was led away under false pretenses, cloaked in hopefulness, her innocence untouched by fate. The air thickened with sorrow around them like a shroud. How could one man bear such heavy burdens without crumbling, as Agamemnon? With these choices alone on distant shores, reached Clytemnestra fragments of truth, piercing her heart like daggers. He learned what transpired on those fateful shores, the depth of a father's betrayal slicing deeper than any blade ever could, and vowed vengeance against those who wronged her family. Days turned into weeks as Agamemnon faced countless adversaries on foreign fields, while Clytemnestra remained behind, each dawn breaking over Mycenae, heralding another reminder. One cannot escape destiny or family ties interwoven with deceit. War raged far from home, amidst clashing swords and cries seeking honor. Seeds sown during those shadowy moments began sprouting roots deep within Clytemnestra's heart roots, entwined tightly around vengeful thoughts, taking shape beneath layers of grief like ivy clutching ancient stonework. Not only against Agamemnon, but all who had stolen from her, including fate itself, which denied her daughter life through cruel twists beyond comprehension. So it came to pass that two lives entwined through love were destined toward inevitable conflict born from sorrow, neither fully comprehending how deeply vengeance would take hold amidst lingering shadows cast long before them. In the aftermath of the banquet, Mycenae lay shrouded in mourning and whispers. Agamemnon, son of Atreus, returned from the shores of Troy with glory upon him, but shadows looming larger behind. Echoes of his father's actions haunted him, leaving a bitter taste that lingered long after victory had been declared. He walked through the palace corridors. Memories collided within him, laughter shared during childhood, and tales spun by firesides now felt like distant illusions. Agamemnon's heart was heavy pride for his achievements in war, battled against dread, birthed from knowledge of his family's cursed legacy. He could not ignore the specter of betrayal, threatening to engulf all who dared claim their throne. Amidst this tumult stood Clytemnestra, his wife, who felt both admiration and resentment toward him. Welcomed him home as a hero, but bore an unyielding pain deep within her soul, the sacrifice of their daughter Iphigenia still raw and festering like an open wound. Favorable winds at Aulis had come at an unbearable cost, even as Agamemnon celebrated conquest. Clytemnestra's heart lay bare with grief. Quiet moments when shadows danced across walls, lit only by flickering flames, she would recall Iphigenia's laughter now silenced forever due to her husband's desperate plea for glory. The sense of loss festered into bitterness as time wore on. Every glance exchanged spoke volumes unuttered, yet deeply felt. Clytemnestra became a masterful weaver of narratives in her mind, crafting tales that painted Agamemnon not merely as a king burdened by duty, but as a father blind to love's true essence. With each passing day, vengeance simmered beneath her surface like molten shadows ready to erupt. Her desire for justice grew entwined with despair. Meanwhile, Orsts wandered through these halls filled with ancestral memories that whispered secrets he struggled to comprehend. He matured under shadowy skies laden with foreboding prophecies. Visions plagued him, echoes urging him toward vengeance against those responsible for his father's fate, and seeking retribution against Clytemnestra herself. Caught between loyalty toward his mother and anguish over his father's demise, Orsts grappled internally. He relived nightmares where wrathful shades beckoned him closer, their relentless whispers ignited turmoil within his spirit. Torn apart by divided allegiances, yet yearning for closure, a resolution long sought after in silence. Fateful night, drawn together by unspoken threads binding mother and son amidst dim candlelight playing tricks upon their faces, they conversed subtly layered truths hidden beneath veils of deception. Clytemnestra unveiled her version, the tragic tale tainted by longing for vengeance born from betrayal at Agamemnon's hands. Failures as a husband led them down this painful path, littered with broken promises. Orsts listened intently as she recounted stories steeped in pain, feelings stirred within him, a tempest raging just beneath the surface demanding reckoning, while simultaneously sending ripples through familial bonds already fragile, enough to fracture easily under pressure. With each word spoken between them came rising tension, truths twisted around lies spun delicately like webs ensnaring unsuspecting prey awaiting capture at dusk. His resolve weakened further under maternal influence while guilt gnawed. Steadily inside, a path before Orst split wide open, he stood at its threshold contemplating what lay ahead. Nurturing love or seeking revenge, a fork leading either toward light or perpetual darkness echoing throughout history, reminding all who tread carefully not to disturb ancient slumber, where sleep eternal awaited beyond fiery realms lurking. Just out of sight, thus concluded Chapter 3. Descent into Darkness, a somber reminder that shadows linger persistently even among those closest bound together by shared bloodlines forged amid sorrowful ties, destined never truly severed, despite temptations whispering sweet. Adductions promising liberation. The aftermath of war, Orsts wandered through the remnants of his childhood, a shadow of the boy he once was. Echoes of laughter that filled the halls of Mycenae had been replaced by a heavy silence that pressed down on his soul. Each step along the marbled corridors felt laden with memories, clawing at his heart and reminding him of what was lost and what lay ahead. Agamemnon's son, Orsts grappled with an unbearable legacy. Surrounded him daily insistent voices, urging him toward action. He felt torn between love for his mother and loyalty to his father, whose spectral presence loomed in every corner of the palace. Clytemnestra moved like a ghost through their home, her visage a haunting reminder of both beauty and betrayal. Orsts observed her from afar, noting how she wore her grief like armor cold and unyielding. Yet within her eyes burned an ember fueled by rage and determination, ignited by Iphigenia's sacrifice at Aulis, and stoked further after Agamemnon's return from war. Clytemnestra plotted revenge against Agamemnon for their daughter's death, whispers entwined around Orst's mind like vines, suffocating a weary tree. His mother painted vivid images filled with venomous truth Agamemnon, as both hero and monster, who betrayed family ties for glory in battle. Each word dripped with poison as she spoke of vengeance against Aegisthus, the man who dared to claim her heart while sharing in their father's treachery. A weight of expectation pressed upon Orsts, a guiding hand, leading him toward dark paths, where vengeance intertwined with duty. Deep within him dwelled the Fury's ancient spirits awakened by familial bloodshed, awaited their cue to emerge from shadows cast long ago by betrayal etched into history's fabric. Fateful night beneath a canopy adorned with stars twinkling like forgotten hopes, Orsts made his choice, a decision birthed from despair, yet blossoming into resolve. He would confront Clytemnestra and Aegisthus. He would fulfill the duty thrust upon him by fate, despite knowing that crossing this threshold meant embracing madness awaiting on the other side. He approached Clytemnestra's chambers, the air thickened with tension wrapped around them like fog, his heart raced with foreboding uncertainty. This encounter held not just justice, but also grief's irrevocable toll upon their lineage, a cycle spiraling downward into darkness, even as they sought to right wrongs deeper than bloodlines could convey. Confrontation unfolded amid flickering torchlight, casting elongated shadows across cold stone walls, imbued with raw emotion words, exchanged became knives, slicing through veils, shrouding regret, cloaked in righteous fury simmering. 'Neath calmness that belied chaos lurking close behind every glance shared between mother and son. With trembling hands gripping his weapon tight enough to feel splinters piercing skin, yet remaining resolute against doubt threatening sanity, whenever guilt crept forth Orsts charged ready to reclaim honor alongside, all which laid heavy. Ancestral burdens passed down throughout generations, who suffered under expectations, set high above fragile hearts yearning only for understanding amidst tumultuous storms unleashed time after time anew. Moments led up to climax unfurling tension, tighter than bowstring readied for release. The final act drew near when destiny clashed head-on against human, will encapsulated within choices shaped not solely by desire or ambition, but influenced deeply rooted connections forged between those destined together, yet caught perpetually apart within cycles, repeating endlessly woven tightly through threads tinted crimson stained across ages past marking histories left, printed onto souls entwined forevermore.